Recovered in the end zone, 20. It goes back first and 10 to a turn by Law. Armstead the block, and he's going deep. He's caught Hill! Foot race! Driving! That is 6! Oh, he's a ghost! 80-yard touchdown!
The Miami Dolphins have been a weird team since Mike McDaniel has taken over. They've been a very competitive regular season team, but they always fall apart within the first round of the playoffs. The Dolphins are coming off of an 8-9 finish in the East and took a massive step back in 2024. Tua has continued to be injury prone and somewhat inconsistent when he has played, and the stars that Miami has acquired, like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey, are only getting older and remaining just as expensive. Their deep playoff window is slowly closing, and hopes are not as high for them this year as they have been the past few seasons. In this video, I'm going to be going through the Dolphins offseason and where exactly I think this team will finish in 2025. It's a long way away and a lot could still happen, but there's some to actually like about what they've done, and I believe there is still a chance they could be a dark horse playoff contender. The Dolphins offseason has been pretty quiet, but not bad at all. They didn't have the money to go all out on big stars like Milton Williams or Dre Greenlaw. However, they made some smaller moves that I like a lot for them. They went out and really tried to address the trenches. For the longest time, the biggest criticism on the Dolphins have been how they can never play in the cold. The team is built too much around speed, and that kind of game plan has problems working when it's snowing and you need a power run game. I think finally the front office sees that, and they went out and signed one of the best available run blocking guards in right guard James Daniels. Daniels played 2024 in Pittsburgh, where he dealt with some injuries, but when he was on the field, he was fantastic. PFF graded Daniels as the second best overall guard in the NFL when healthy. They also graded his run blocking as top 3 in the NFL and his pass blocking at just about above average. I think this was a great move, as the Dolphins' interior offensive line has really been what has held them back for so many years. Now, his injury history is a bit rocky, but he's started in a total of 84 games in his career, and before this injury in early September, he never had any real problems. They went out and signed Larry Borom, who is a massive tackle, but just isn't very good at all, and will more than likely just be a depth piece on the line, as the Dolphins have dealt with so many injuries at tackle. The line isn't the only thing getting bigger, though, as they signed Titans wide receiver Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who is 6'2" and well over 200 pounds. He's not the flashiest name, but it gives the Dolphins a wide receiver who isn't just barely 6 foot and under 200 pounds. He has legitimate size and good hands and projects to be their third wide receiver this year behind Tyreek and Waddle. The Dolphins' red zone offense has been so bad, and not only the signing of Westbrook, but with the signing of Alexander Mattison, who again isn't a very flashy name, but is a much stronger running back than anything the Dolphins had in that running back room in the first place. Now they actually have the ability to run up the middle in the red zone rather than play action boots and zone runs with A-Chain. They took some flyers at the safety position, as well, signing Ifeatu Melifonwu from Detroit and Ashton Davis from the Jets. Davis will more than likely be a depth piece with starting potential, but Melifonwu graded as an above average safety from the Lions defense in 2024 when healthy and on the field. He's a physical safety and a big hitter, and I think a solid Javon Holland replacement. The draft for the Dolphins had the same physical mindset. They took one of the biggest nose tackles in the draft at pick 13 in Kenneth Grant from Michigan. Grant is a 335 pounds defensive tackle and helped anchor a very talented Michigan defensive line next to Mason Graham. I understand it was a bit of a reach, but regardless, it fills a hole, and I really like Grant as a prospect. He's a great run defender and has a fantastic motor and great work ethic. I think he can anchor the Dolphins line for years to come. In round 2, they traded up for Jonas Savaina, who was the top available offensive lineman at that point, and will move over from tackle to guard in the NFL, which will secure the other guard spot next to James Daniels, which was previously Liam Eichenberg. Another solid run blocker who is big and physical and has a great motor. And if that wasn't enough help for the trenches, they picked up 3 defensive linemen in the NFL draft in Kenneth Grant, Jordan Phillips in the 5th round, who is honestly a bit of a steal, and Zeke Biggers, who is a massive man down the middle once again from Georgia Tech. That's 3 defensive tackles for Miami and a new guard all in one draft. It's clear their priority was to get bigger in this draft and to get a lot stronger, as the Dolphins have been classified as weak for years now. Now, there's always that chance that none of these rookies work out, as they all can be classified as gambles, but overall it's clear that the Dolphins' mindset has changed, and they're moving off from the speed-only philosophy and moving into a more powerful style of play, not just on defense, but on offense as well. They took Oregon State running back Ali Gordon in round 6, who fell off a little bit in 2024, but was a Heisman contender in 2023. Gordon once again fits the prototype of physical, as he's well over 6 foot and well over 200 pounds at the running back position. Adding him and Alexander Madison to a run game with Devon Achane gives them a bit of a thunder and lightning feel up the middle, and if Gordon plays anywhere near what he played like in 2023, then they may have gotten a big steal late in the draft. Now, as we approach the month of June, it will be interesting to see what the Dolphins do with Jalen Ramsey and Tyreek Hill. Hill has been a troublemaker in Miami and a bit of a locker room cancer since being traded from the Chiefs in 2022. It hadn't been a big problem, though, as he posted back-to-back 1,700-yard seasons and was the Dolphins' primary star on offense. However, in 2024, he only dropped a total of 900 yards and seemed to have regressed a bit. Now, in all fairness, he was dealing with quarterbacks like Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson, but even when Tua returned from injury, he didn't look overly impressive with more drops this season than usual as well. The question has to be asked, is Tyreek worth all the trouble he causes off the field for his production on the field? And personally, I think the answer to that is no. Like I've said this entire video, the Dolphins are moving away from the speed-only methodology, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tyreek is a name moved in early June. The off-field allegations about him, like the domestic abuse ones, and the story where he allegedly held his baby over a balcony and threatened to throw her off, these are kinds of acts that from a player that I personally wouldn't want on my team regardless of production, and I would have no issue with the Dolphins moving off from him. Then there's Jalen Ramsey, who hasn't been much of a locker room cancer, but rather just wants off the team as he sees a sinking ship that he doesn't want to be a part of anymore, and more than likely wants to take a stab at another Super Bowl ring before he retires, which is totally understandable. I think Ramsey will more than likely get traded as well, as that relationship cannot be repaired at this point in time. If this does happen, I think the Dolphins will take a stab at Asante Samuel Jr. in free agency or Rasul Douglas to try to get a body in that corner room. However, this obviously weakens the Miami secondary a lot and could create major issues for them going forward. Overall, I think the Dolphins will be an interesting team to watch in 2025 as they've had a bit of a roller coaster offseason. In my opinion, it all comes down to coaching. Will Mike McDaniel be able to beat the soft allegations and put forward a playoff win? And how will Anthony Weaver perform coaching a defense with a fantastic pass rush in Jalen Phillips and Chop Robinson, but also a diminished secondary? All in all, I have the Dolphins as a 10-win team in 2025 at 10-7 if they're able to stay healthy. I see their ceiling at 12-5 and their floor as low as 7-10. It all comes down to staying healthy and if McDaniel can learn how to coach a more power-driven offense.